All right, listen up, fam. This high school is basically a training camp for future criminals. We're talking sleeping in class, brawling in the hallways, even the teachers are too scared to step in. Isn't this place a total nightmare for studying? But get a load of our boy. He looks like a total nerd with those glasses, but he's actually a top-tier fighter who settles arguments with his fists. And his ultimate goal for being here? To get into college. So, back in the classroom, our boy Gammon is seriously hitting the books, trying to make his college dream a reality. But look at these clowns around him, completely ignoring him. The struggle is real. Just then, he bumps into someone in the hallway, and it's his tutor, Hankyong Lee, looking all cheerful. Gammon's totally caught off guard. Turns out they have a history. We get a quick flashback to 2 years ago. Hankyong was his tutor, and man, she was the most supportive teacher ever. She saw the potential in our boy when no one else did, always pushing him to try. And with that encouragement, bam, we jump 2 years into the future. But here's the harsh reality of the present. The biggest problem wasn't just the school. Gammon himself admits he has zero talent for studying. And as if that's not enough, trouble just has a way of finding him. Some random punk picks a fight, and BM, fists start flying. And because of all this, he ended up in a technical high school, the one with the worst reputation ever. Now stuck in this dump, Gammon's strategy is simple. Lay low, avoid the fights, and just study. But he's got a clever spin on it. He realizes that in a school full of delinquents who don't care about grades, it's actually easier to rank up. He just needs to survive for 3 years. And that's when the brilliant idea hits him. He's going to form, you guessed it, a study group. Of course, laying low in a school nicknamed the Future Criminals Academy is easier said than done. It's a total war zone where you have to learn a blend in just to survive. As the new semester kicks off, Gammon is trying to be invisible when the new homeroom teacher walks in. And would you look at that? It's Ms. Lee, his former tutor, Hankyong. And it all clicks into place for Gammon. He remembers their tutoring sessions, how she always believed in him. He even remembers her dream, to pass the certification exam and become a teacher who guides kids in the right direction. And now, here she is, living that dream in the worst possible place for it. And she immediately gets a taste of what this school is really like. The students are completely out of control, making crass comments and ignoring her completely. When she tries to start the morning meeting, some jerk just casually throws a bottle and wham. It hits her right in the head. Welcome to Yusung High, Ms. Lee. And while the teacher is dealing with that assault, what's happening on the other side of the room? Oh, just some dude getting thrown out a window. No big deal. The other students are so used to it, they're literally placing bets on how many fights he'll get into this month. This place is insane. Just when things are about to escalate further, this absolute unit of a guy, who the students call Tom Kinch, steps in and shuts it down. But instead of dealing with the delinquents, he turns his anger on poor Ms. Lee, blaming her for the mess. He then has the nerve to make her clean up the broken glass. What a jerk. And as if her day couldn't get any worse, while cleaning up the mess she didn't even make, Hankyong cuts her hand on the broken glass. You can just see it on her face, the pain, the shock, and the dawning realization of what a nightmare this job is going to be. Meanwhile, let's check back on our boy. He's out on the field, absolutely beast-moding his workout. Look at that perfect form on the pull-up bar, muscles trembling and everything. Even the coach is impressed, calling him amazing. This guy is a machine. The coach tells him time's up, and Gammon gets so startled he literally flips over and falls flat on his face. He's a top-tier fighter, but also a total klutz. After a quick thank you, he bolts for the school building, clearly in a hurry. So that's what the rush was about. It's the classic morning scene. Mom barges in, telling him he's going to be late for school. While Gammon tries to get 5 more minutes of sleep, she's already got his breakfast packed, telling him to eat on the way. The daily struggle is universal, folks. On the other side of town, Ms. Lee is getting ready for another day at the war zone. Her colleagues are trying to talk some sense into her, saying the kids at this school are a lost cause and that she's only going to get hurt. It's not just a job, it's a survival mission. But Hankyong isn't one to back down. She gives herself a little pep talk, remembering why she wanted to become a teacher in the first place. Despite being terrified, she swallows her fear, clenches her fist, and marches right back into that hellhole of a school with determination. Our boy Gammon is already putting his plan into motion. Step 1 for the study group: find members. He scans the classroom, but all he sees are slackers yawning or reading comics. But then his eyes land on one kid, Si Kim, who's actually studying. Target acquired. But when Gammon tries to ask for some math help, Si shuts him down hard. The guy is clearly annoyed. We get a peek into his thoughts. He knows that if he's seen tutoring a well-known weakling like Gammon, they'll become a target for all the delinquents. This is not going to be easy, and trouble is brewing everywhere in this school. A student named Jae Chu is getting cornered in the bathroom. Meanwhile, in the teacher's office, Ms. Lee is getting chewed out by her superior because her students already broke a window on her first day. The chaos is nonstop. The bald teacher gives Han-kyung a stern warning. Inspectors from the education office are visiting today, so she better keep her class in line. But the moment she steps into the hallway, she spots another fight breaking out. It's like putting out fires with a water pistol here. Turns out, the guy getting jumped is Jae Chu, the same dude from the bathroom earlier. He's getting pummeled by a whole group, and to his shock, he recognizes one of them is from his own class. The mechanics majors in this school are apparently a different breed of crazy. The bully then turns his attention to Ms. Lee, threatening to give her a taste of the iron pipe treatment. Terrified, she turns to run but stumbles and falls. The sheer lawlessness of these students is hitting her hard, and her heart is pounding out her chest. But just as the situation looks hopeless, a hand grabs the bully's wrist, stopping him in his tracks. And who does it belong to? None other than our boy Gammon. Gammon looks dead serious, a fire in his eyes we haven't seen before. The narration reminds us he's one of the rare few in this school who actually has a shot at college. And it looks like he's about to risk it all to protect a future study group member. Looking at Cian, beaten and on the ground, Gammon makes up his mind. He knows Cian is one of the only students who genuinely wants to learn. To recruit him for the study group, he realizes he has no choice but to step in. A fight is coming. We get a quick flashback explaining where he got this whole study group idea. His mom was talking to a neighbor whose kid's grades shot up by 30 points after joining one. But his mom thinks Gammon is too shy for that and decides a private tutor will be better. Little does she know, but his attempts to join an existing study group were a complete disaster. He got straight up rejected and mocked for his terrible grades. The top students looked at him like he was trash, brutally shutting down his hopes. Man, that's rough. Everywhere he turned, it was the same story. Sorry, we're full. Or they just avoid eye contact altogether. The final blow comes as a text message from a group leader, officially rejecting him. Our boy looks absolutely crushed. He remembers a moment with his tutor when she caught him crying. He wasn't sad about getting the questions wrong. He was just so angry at himself for not being smarter. That frustration is what fuels his determination now. Even as he sees other students easily getting exam materials he can only dream of. Back in the present, Han-kyung grabs Gammon's arm, pleading with him not to fight. She insists that even in a place like this, a school is for studying. But she doesn't understand the rules of this jungle yet. Gammon actually listens to her. But the bully, Jae isn't having it. He scoffs, "Since we don't have pipes, take my fist instead." But right as he swings, Gammon yells "stop" and makes a completely unexpected move. He grabs a fire extinguisher and lets it rip. The entire area is instantly flooded with thick smoke, sending everyone into a coughing, chaotic mess. This crazy bastard is playing 4D chess. In the chaos, Gammon grabs Cian and makes a break for it through the back door. Han-kyung is relieved he didn't get into a fight. Seizing the opportunity, Gammon makes his move. "If you're grateful, you can form a study group with me." Our boy is smooth with it. But Cian hits him with a dose of reality. He explains the real danger at this school, the infamous white lead crew, for kids of a notorious gang boss. He warns Gammon that knowing who to avoid is basic survival here, more important than any study group. Cian gets heated, revealing that he's the one who's been wearing a mask and pretending to be a tough guy. It was all an act to keep the real bullies off his back. For him, survival is way more important than studying. So the mysterious masked fighter was Cian all along. He created this tough persona just to survive. Gammon is stunned by the revelation. He can't believe someone who just wants to study has to go to such extreme lengths. Cian confesses that for him, this isn't just about grades. It's a matter of survival, which is far more important. That's why he had to create the masked identity. His desperate words really hit home for Gammon. Just then, some crazy-looking girl appears out of nowhere, grabs the bully Jae by the collar, and threatens to beat him until he wets himself. The tough guys in this school just keep popping up. Cian is in complete shock. He always thought Gammon was a weakling he had to lie to protect. Now, he realizes how wrong he was. Gammon makes him a promise. "From now on, I'll handle the survival part. You just focus on studying." It all makes sense now. Gammon held back to protect Cian's secret identity. But with the mask off, Cian's in even more danger. Meanwhile, that psycho girl is still threatening Jae, and you could just feel a huge fight is about to break out. Gammon repeats his offer to Cian, laying it all out. "You don't have to worry about survival anymore. I'll handle that stuff. So just join my study group and study with me." Cian is just flabbergasted, thinking, what is this guy even saying right now? Jae, feeling ignored, swings at Gammon. But our boy isn't just dodging randomly. He's calculated. He effortlessly blocks the punch with his backpack. Jae Hwang is stunned, realizing this nerd he's been picking on is anything but weak. Jae Hwang keeps trying to land a hit, but Gammon's movements are just on another level. Ms. Lee, watching from the sidelines, asks why he's so hyped up to fight. But even Gammon is confused, thinking to himself, wait, what happened? I definitely threw a punch. It wasn't that he didn't throw a punch. He was just too damn fast. He tried to hold back. He really did, but his instincts took over. A flawless combo of strikes, and Jae Hwang is getting absolutely demolished, unable to even land a single hit. After effortlessly taking care of Jae Hwang, Gammon turns to Seon and calmly repeats his offer. Seon is in utter disbelief that he handled the notorious bully so easily. And they weren't the only ones watching. Other students who want to study but are too afraid are now seeing a glimmer of hope. Finally, Seon is convinced and agrees to join the study group. Gammon is ecstatic, pumping his fist in victory. Mission accomplished. The first member has been recruited. Just as things calm down, the bell rings. Ms. Lee comes running over, but everyone's attention is suddenly stolen by a new arrival. A silver-haired pretty boy steps onto the scene, and his introduction says it all. Pai Hanwol, son of the boss of the White League gang. The real trouble has just begun. Pai Hanwol spots the white powder footprints from the fire extinguisher and follows them right to the psycho girl, whose name is apparently Choi Ji-yu. Turns out she's got 4 years of kickboxing under her belt. But it doesn't matter. They clash, and Hanwol takes her down in a single move. The power gap is insane. Meanwhile, the school inspector has arrived, and the bald teacher, Tom Kinch, is putting on a show. He complains about the school's image while ordering some poor guy to take out all the trash. The dude gets so disgusted by the smell that he literally pukes. Yeah, this place is a real paradise. Back at the mechanics lab, Ms. Lee is cleaning up the fire extinguisher mess, thinking to herself that Gammon is more fearless than she thought. At the same time, Gammon is asking Seon for help, fully committed to his new mission. He has to save the future members of his study group. The bald teacher storms into the mechanics lab and finds it in total disarray from the extinguisher foam. He immediately lays into Ms. Lee, blaming her for not helping prepare for the inspection and making things worse. The guy's a master at passing the buck. He's so furious, he swears he'll find the culprit, even if it costs him his job. He grabs a random student passing by, demanding to know who did it. To everyone's surprise, the student just casually admits to it. Ms. Lee thinks he's covering for someone, but the kid is thinking, yeah, that was me. Turns out this student, Gunyeb, is actually Gammon's friend. He spins a ridiculous story about using the extinguisher to prepare for the inspection, and somehow, the bald teacher buys it and rushes off. This guy's got some serious acting skills. After all that chaos, Gammon and Seon finally get a moment to sit down and study together. Gammon expresses his admiration for Seon's discipline, believing that a healthy body is essential for a healthy mind. The study group is officially having its first session. Gammon gets curious and asks Seon why someone as smart as him would come to a dump like this. Seon's answer is simple and cryptic: to study. There's definitely more to his story than he's letting on. Gammon proudly shows Seon his secret weapon, a custom-made textbook filled with his own notes and summaries. Just as they're bonding over study methods, the classroom door gets kicked open. And just like that, it's time for more trouble. It's Pai Hanwol's lackeys. The scar-faced goon mocks Gammon for actually trying to study here, snatches his precious notebook, and sets it on fire, saying that in this school, books are only good for kindling. You can see the switch flip in Gammon's eyes. At that exact moment, the inspectors from the education office are touring the school grounds. They're not happy, noting the terrible environment and declining enrollment. They issue a stark warning. If any more incidents occur, there will be a full investigation and people will be held responsible. The inspectors bump into Ms. Lee on their way to the mechanics lab. They're heading there to check on the new equipment the school just got funding for, which is supposed to help boost the students' employment rates. But right then, Gammon's friend Gunyeb comes sprinting towards them in a panic, yelling that there's big trouble. They rush to the classroom only to find it engulfed in flames and smoke. The study group is facing a crisis before it even officially begins. Amidst the flames, Gammon faces off against the book-burning thug. The guy arrogantly declares Gammon as the next piece of kindling, but our boy just coldly replies, "If you want to fight, then let's go. Don't regret it." The beast has been unleashed. Meanwhile, as the classroom is literally catching fire, back in the hallway, the school staff are in full-on damage control mode. Gammon's friend is screaming his head off, but the teachers are just like, "What kind of nonsense are you spouting, kid?" Bro, they are seriously trying to cover this whole thing up from the inspectors. And the cover-up continues. The principal, slick as ever, is trying to play it off like it's just some escaped fireflies or the students are overreacting. Yeah, right? You can see the inspector isn't buying it for a second. But while they're busy playing dumb, others are sprinting straight into the danger zone. So, how did this whole mess even start? Let's rewind a bit. The thug, Jae Chu, kicks everyone else out of the room, holds up Gammon's precious notebook, and says this stuff isn't worth more than firewood. And then, flick, he lights it up right in front of our boy. That is just cold-blooded. Back in the present, Gammon's friend tries to step in, but this girl, Hankyong, basically tells him to get lost. Look at our boy hesitating. He's not scared of the fight. He's scared of getting into trouble and ruining his chances of studying. The internal conflict is real. But Hankyong isn't having it. She's ready to throw down herself and tells the thug she'll continue what she was doing to him later. Damn, she's got fire. Despite her offer, Gammon decides to handle this himself, apologizing to his friend. He can't let anyone else get hurt for his sake. The thug, with his face already busted up from a previous encounter, starts running his mouth again. You really think you can study after what you did to my face? And look, Gammon's bag is on fire. But our boy has had enough. He's not holding back anymore. A clean kick straight to the face. That's what you get for burning the books. Gammon is in full panic mode. Not for himself, but for his notes. It'll all burn down soon. The thug, Jae is completely fixated on the notebook, grabbing Gammon's head and demanding to know what's so special about it. Our boy is desperately trying to protect the last remnants of his hard work. And that was the last straw. With his dream turning to ashes, Gammon finally unleashes. The nerd glasses come off, metaphorically speaking. A massive whoosh, and the thug goes flying. The onlookers are stunned. They thought they were messing with a bookworm, but they just poked a sleeping dragon. Even after getting rocked, Jae is still running his mouth, mocking Gammon and his friends. But Gammon isn't just fighting for himself anymore. He gets right in the guy's face and screams, "Apologize, T.O. Cian." He's defending his friend's honor now. This is personal. The fight escalates into pure chaos. Jae tries to use a chair, but our boy is just on another level. He dodges, weaves, and uses the environment to his advantage. This isn't a brawl, it's a masterclass in demolition. Jae is throwing wild punches, but our boy's movements are clean and precise. He's not just strong, he's technical. He's treating this like a sparring session, calmly dismantling his opponent piece by piece. The dialogue confirms it. There's no chance this time. And here comes the finisher. Look at the focus in his eyes. Gammon wins up and delivers a devastating kick, so fast it looks like it's on fire. The thug's face says it all, pure shock and regret. Game over. The thug is down for the count, but Gammon isn't done. He grabs him, holding him up. You can't pass out now. You need to apologize to Cian first. He's not letting this go until justice is served. And look who's watching with a KYHH. It's Hankyong, totally fangirling. And busted. Just as Gammon secures the win, the teachers and the inspector finally arrive, walking right into a smoke-filled, trashed classroom with a beaten-up student. The timing could not be worse. Look at their faces. They're absolutely horrified. Our boy is so screwed. So, predictably, the aftermath is a disaster. The principal is absolutely losing his mind, screaming at the new teacher, Hankyong. How could a fire break out on inspection day? He's not mad about the fight. He's mad his perfect little show got ruined. He even gets physical, grabbing her. What a scumbag. The vice principal joins in, ready to throw Gammon under the bus. He's talking about delinquents and how no one listens to him. But just as he's about to seal Gammon's fate, knock knock, the inspector walks in. Oh, the look on their faces is priceless. The jig is up. Meanwhile, word spreads through the school like wildfire. The new kid beat up Jae. The legend of Yoon Gammon begins. Everyone's talking about the epic fight in the burning classroom. Our boy is infamous overnight. But our hero isn't celebrating. He's sitting alone, freaking out. I'm going to get expelled. How am I going to tell my mom? All he wanted was to study, and now he's facing the worst possible outcome. Just then, someone peeks through the door. It's the other members of his would-be study group. They tell him that as members, they need to show up for him. They know he exploded because Jae burned the notebook, and one of them admits it might have been something he worked really hard on. They're sticking with him. The loyalty is real. And we see just how important that notebook was. It was a guide, meticulously crafted by his friend Cian. Seeing those neat notes compared to his own messy ones was what inspired him to try so hard. That wasn't just paper Jae burned. He burned Gammon's hope. Back in the principal's office, Hankyong is not backing down. While the principal trembles in front of the inspector, she points the finger right where it belongs. The second-year student is the bad guy here. Zawan-ju. She's putting her job on the line for our boy. What a queen. The vice principal freaks out, scared of the gang affiliations behind Jae-won. He immediately tries to smooth things over by suggesting they hold a hearing and expel both students. Gamin is stunned. He was the victim, and now he's facing expulsion? The other teachers try to drag Han-kyung away, telling her to stay out of it. But she knows the truth. This school doesn't care about what's right. They only care about looking good for the inspector, even if it means sacrificing a student. The whole system is rotten to the core. But Han-kyung has an ace up her sleeve. She reveals she was the top scorer in last year's teacher certification exam. She threatens to go public with everything if they dare to expel Gamin, even if it costs her job. She refuses to let our boy be a victim of this corrupt system. Meanwhile, in another part of the school, a couple of delinquents are heading to the nurse's office, gossiping and laughing about Jae Hwang getting beaten by a freshman. Little do they know, they're walking right into trouble. Suddenly, a mountain of a man appears and takes them both out with ease for talking trash. This is San Jinbang, the son of the white lead gang's director. Looks like Jae Wang's backup has arrived. Back in the office, the vice principal is still on his power trip, pointing his finger in Gamin's face, citing past violence as a reason for immediate expulsion. Our boy is cornered, sweating bullets with no way to defend himself. Han-kyung steps up again, calling out the vice principal for fostering a dog-eat-dog environment instead of actually teaching the students. He gets furious and threatens her job status as a contract teacher. But that's when the inspector finally speaks up. The inspector looks at Han-kyung and calmly says, "You're as smart as ever, Ms. Han-kyung Lee, the top scorer in the certification. You sure are different." The vice principal's jaw hits the floor. He had no idea the contract teacher he was just threatening was a certified genius. Turns out, the inspector and Han-kyung go way back. Her dream has always been to reform a failing school, just like this one. Now, she's declaring her intention to start a study group, and Gamin is going to be its founding member, under her protection. The vice principal tries to object, but the inspector overrides him, giving the plan his full support. Outgunned and outranked, the VP has no choice but to back down. The study group is officially a go. However, it's not all smooth sailing. While the hearing is going on, Gamin's friend Gunyeb, with blood on his hands, sends a photo to someone. It's clearly a signal. A much bigger storm is brewing. The White League gang finds one of their own crucified, a horrific scene with a bloody message on the wall. This place will soon become a sea of blood. Someone has just declared war. But despite the chaos brewing outside, the study group is officially born. Posters go up all over campus, recruiting anyone who wants to study, with Ms. Lee as the advisor. Gamin's academic journey is finally, truly beginning. The study group posters cause an immediate stir. Students are laughing, scoffing, and generally treating it as a huge joke. After all, a study group in the school for future criminals? It sounds completely absurd. Jae Hwang, fresh off his defeat, sees one of the posters, his eyes filled with hate. He despises anything hopeful, and for him, other people's dreams are just things to be torn apart. He rips the poster down, a petty act of impotent rage. Meanwhile, Han-kyung meets up with Gamin over the weekend. Seeing him rush over, all flustered, she can't help but think he looks like the white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland, always in a hurry. It's a cute and funny moment. Her amusement quickly turns to shock when Gamin leads her to the parallel bars and starts busting out an insane number of inverted push-ups. His incredible stamina leaves both Han-kyung and her friend completely stunned. Is this guy really a student who wants to study? Turns out, Gamin mixed up the dates and thought it was his workout day. After Han-kyung reminds him, he remembers their actual plan. Go to a bookstore to buy study materials. Look at his embarrassed and helpless face. It's hilarious. Once they get to the bookstore, Han-kyung transforms into a bookstore warrior, grabbing massive stacks of textbooks. Gamin is completely overwhelmed by the mountain of books and even sneaks in a copy of Interview with Bruce Lee. He just can't comprehend the world of a top student. While taking a break, Han-kyung apologizes for previously telling him to quit and promises to help him with everything she's got. Gamin sincerely asks for her guidance. In this moment, their teacher-student bond is officially forged. After spending the entire day at the bookstore, they're both exhausted. Han-kyung suggests they go to her place for dinner. Gamin doesn't say it, but you can tell he's looking forward to it. Studying is tough, but having someone by your side makes it all worthwhile. However, as Han-kyung goes to unlock her apartment, she notices the lock has been tampered with. Something seems to be waiting for them inside. Gamin senses it too. The atmosphere is tense. Did someone get here before them? And sure enough, a couple of guys burst out from inside. It's the other two members of the study group. They tracked her down to officially ask to join. This sudden turn of events leaves both Gamin and Han-kyung completely speechless. It turns out they couldn't find her at school and had to ask around to find her address. Looks like the study group roster is about to get a little bigger. But while Gammon's study group is finally getting on track, the White League gang is in an uproar. They can't just let Jay Wang's beatdown slide. A leader named Hamilpie seems to have already set his sights on Gammon. Sanjin is screaming for revenge, but Hamill couldn't care less. In his eyes, anyone who gets beaten up is an idiot. He's more interested in the girl next to him than getting payback. This cold indifference is honestly more terrifying. But don't be fooled, Hamill does care. His plan isn't a direct assault on Gammon. Instead, he wants to destroy his environment first, isolate him. And their first target is the new teacher, Ms. Han-kyung Lee. Later that night, Han-kyung is alone at school when she gets cornered by a group of thugs. They're menacing, closing in on her. A targeted attack on the teacher is about to begin. They snatch her phone, surround her, and threaten to leave her with so much trauma she'll never want to teach again. Faced with these deranged students, Han-kyung is utterly terrified. Just as the thugs are about to make their move, a figure appears out of nowhere and sends one of them flying with a kick. It's Gammon. He made it just in time. Gammon's arrival completely catches the thugs off guard. He doesn't waste a second, immediately unleashing a furious barrage of attacks. Every punch is fueled by rage. You mess with his teacher, you're going to regret it. He knows this wasn't a coincidence. These guys were sent specifically to target him and his study group. While protecting his teacher, he starts clearing out the grunts. The aura of a true fighter is on full display. The leader of the thugs recognizes Gammon, remembering him from the legendary Double Hole Middle School incident. This is the guy who supposedly took down an entire gang by himself. They realize they've picked a fight with the wrong person. Seeing they're outmatched, one of the thugs uses a shard of glass to cut Gammon and create an opening to escape. Ignoring his injury, Gammon immediately gives chase with the teacher. He's not letting these scumbags get away. As he runs, he tries to call Han-kyung, but she's not picking up. He realizes with dawning horror that the thugs might have split up, that there could be more than one target. His worst fear is about to come true. And he's right. The other group of thugs has found Han-kyung's hiding spot. Their orders were clear. Take her out tonight, or face Hamill's wrath. Can Gammon possibly make it in time to save her again? While Han-kyung is cornered and Gammon is racing against time, the story throws us a curveball, flashing back to some daytime chaos at the school. Seems like there's never a dull moment at Yusung High. Students are gossiping over a photo, and when the woman in the picture, Han-kyung herself, shows up, the vibe gets seriously weird. Meanwhile, on the other side of the school, a whole other drama is unfolding. This dude with a bandana, Gunya Park, is on a revenge mission. Turns out, he was publicly humiliated by a transfer student from the States who not only stole his top spot, but also forced him to kneel and beg. He's been holding on to that grudge, and today is payback time. And he doesn't waste any time. Bam! A swift kick, and you can practically hear the bone crack. He's not just fighting, he's making a statement. Rankings mean nothing when weapons get involved, he snarls, grabbing a whole bench. This guy is not playing around. He's here to do serious damage. But his target's crew came prepared. They pull out chains and bats. Gunyeb just scoffs. Did you think you were the only one with weapons? And just like that, it's an all-out brawl. The scene explodes into total chaos. A teacher sees the fight and makes a run for it to get help, but she's stopped by Gunyeb and his buddy. She looks at these kids, remembering them when they were innocent, and she's just horrified. Just what went wrong with these kids? She wonders. She can't wrap her head around what kind of twisted environment could turn students into this. Meanwhile, the battle rages on, getting more brutal by the second. And right on cue, in the middle of all this chaos, our boy Gammon makes his grand entrance. Han-kyung is shocked. Gammon, what are you doing here? He just casually points to a paper bag one of the thugs is holding. My book is in there. I came to get it. Of course. Always about the books. You gotta love his priorities. The moment they see it's Gammon, they know they're in trouble, but they try to act tough, suggesting they team up against him. The orange-haired dude, who's had a run-in with Gammon before, recognizes him instantly. Looks like another brawl is unavoidable. Cutting back to Gunyeb's revenge tour, he's absolutely dominating. Wielding that chain like a pro, he's got his enemies screaming while he laughs in their faces. Doesn't that hurt? Get lost? We're gonna get beaten up. Yeah, this guy is ruthless. Gunyeb is an absolute storm of violence. The sound of his chain crushing bone is brutal, and he completely shatters the other guy's hand. Han-kyung, watching from the sidelines, is just speechless. She's probably never witnessed a beatdown this savage. Just as Gammon is about to get jumped, a masked punk lobs a bottle straight at his head. Gammon thinks, I'm done for. But out of nowhere, whoosh. Gunyeb swings a pipe and shatters the bottle mid-air. Turns out, the bottle thrower is the American transfer student he's been hunting. Well, look at that. The enemy of my enemy is my temporary ally. Gunyeb and his target take off running, instantly relieving the pressure on Gammon. Just then, a voice pops up behind him. Want to join our study group? It's one of his study buddies. Great timing. But before they can chat, Gammon turns to face the remaining thugs and pulls his secret weapon out of his bag with a flourish. The thugs are still running their mouths, threatening to crush them like cockroaches. Gammon hands his bag over to his friend, and we get a peek at his to-do list. And what's on it? Nunchuck training. My man literally schedules his beatdowns. That's our diligent boy. And there it is. Gammon whips out his homemade nunchucks. They might look a little janky, but they get the job done. The thugs are floored. He made nunchucks? You bet he did. This is how a top-tier nerd throws down. His friend is left holding the bag, completely confused. Why did Gammon pass me this? But there's no time to think because Gammon has already charged headfirst into the enemy mob, letting out a battle cry. He's a whirlwind of motion, taking them all on by himself. What a legend. The fight is insane. Gammon moves so fast he's just a blur, his homemade nunchucks a dizzying weapon of destruction. He's applying his studies to combat, and the result is beautifully effective chaos. In what feels like seconds, the entire street is littered with unconscious thugs. And what does Gammon do after single-handedly winning the battle? He looks at his nunchucks with disappointment. I made this too poorly, so I can't use it to practice properly. Dude, are you for real? That was an unbelievable performance. Hank Yong rushes over, relieved to see Gammon is okay despite the massive brawl. Are you okay? She asks, amazed he's unharmed. But before they can even catch their breath, smash. The sound of a bottle breaking nearby rips through the air. The sound came from Gunyeb, who now has the orange-haired kid pinned with a broken bottle to his throat. He's grilling him about something way more serious than a schoolyard grudge, a murder case. The vibe just shifted from high school fight to a straight-up crime thriller. Gunyeb presses him, suspecting he not only knows who the real culprit is, but was also involved in the break-in at Ms. Lee's house. He picks up a tool, his voice dripping with menace. You won't be able to say anything if I split open your skull, right? The pressure is immense. This is terrifying. The orange-haired kid is terrified for his life, screaming his denial. But Gunyeb is lost in his rage. In his mind, someone who breaks into a person's home deserves whatever's coming to them. And just when it looks like he's about to cross a line, our boy steps in. Gammon grabs the weapon, yelling, "That's enough." Hank Yong rushes in too, trying to de-escalate. It always falls to Gammon to be the voice of reason and clean up the mess, doesn't it? Gammon, ever the optimist, even tries to recruit Gunyeb for the study group. But Gunyeb is not having it. He stares down at his bloodied victim and then back at Gammon, his voice ice-cold. I'm telling you to fuck off. When Hank Yong asks if this is all related to Hyunwoo Lee, Gunyeb finally snaps, screaming, "My mom died." And there it is. The truth comes out. The victim of the murder case was his own mother. This isn't just a school fight. It's a tragedy fueled by grief and a desperate search for justice. Looking at this boy consumed by vengeance, Gammon's expression hardens. He makes a decision right then and there. He has to stop this cycle of violence, even if it means becoming a monster just like him to do it. Gunyeb continues to tear into the orange-haired kid, calling him a slave to Hanwol Pai, a coward who only preys on the weak. The name drops, and Gammon starts connecting the dots, realizing there's a much larger power structure at play here. Finally, with the teachers intervening, the immediate crisis is averted. They're marched off to face a fair punishment. But in a school like this, you have to wonder what fair even means. Later that night, Gammon and Hank Yong walk home, the weight of the day's events hanging heavy in the air. They both know this is far from over. Gunyeb's quest for revenge and the involvement of Hanwol Pai is a ticking time bomb. It all started with that one phone call. Someone is pulling the strings from the shadows. Hank Yong goes to the police, but it feels like that's just the opening move in a much larger, more dangerous game. As a new school day begins, a bigger storm is brewing over Yusung High. After all that drama, it's back to the books. The study group has a new problem. The principal says they need at least 5 members to be an official club. Finding 3 more students who actually want to study in this school? Yeah, that's going to be tough. They have a potential new recruit in mind, a girl named Jaiwa Lee. The only problem? Yusung High is strictly segregated by gender. 2 guys trying to just walk into the girls section of the school to find someone? The awkwardness is going to be off the charts. And yep, it's as awkward as you'd expect. Our boys are standing outside the girls' classroom, totally clueless. They don't even know what Jaiwa looks like and are too scared to call her name, fearing the attention of an entire room of girls. The social anxiety is real, folks. Meanwhile, inside the girls' classroom, it's a whole different kind of war zone. The drama is thick, with bullying and power struggles over boyfriends and social status that are just as intense as the boys' fistfights. A girl named Mihi Huang is chewing another student out over a math test. Just as Mihi is about to get physical, a blonde girl named Hee-won Choi bravely steps in. "Don't bully the good kids," she declares. "Just go ahead and hit me instead, you bitch." Whoa, okay. We love to see it. And the conflict explodes. Slaps are thrown. Insults are hurled. We learn there's extortion happening here too, with one girl being forced to pay off her brother's debt. The social ecosystem of this school is just completely toxic. Right in the middle of this tense standoff, who walks in? Our boy Gammon, clutching his study planner for dear life. Completely oblivious to the drama, he just asks who Jaewa Lee is, wanting to talk about the study group. The entire room just freezes, staring at him in disbelief. Gammon's arrival immediately sparks new trouble. A guy storms in, points right at him and demands, "What are you doing with my girlfriend?" Great. Now our boy is caught in the middle of someone else's relationship drama. So this guy is apparently Jaiwoo's boyfriend. But Jaiwoo is completely embarrassed by him and just slaps him right across the face in front of everyone. The secondhand cringe is intense. Relationships at Yusung High are clearly built different. During the chaos, a piece of gum gets stuck in the boyfriend's hair. He absolutely loses it and, of course, decides to blame Gammon, accusing him of doing it on purpose. The boyfriend grabs Gammon's collar, ready to throw a punch, and starts bringing up his past to try and shame him. But before a fight can break out, a faculty member from the student council shows up and orders them to break it up. After that incident, the rumors about Jaiwoo get even worse. Overwhelmed and upset, she ignores her friend's pleas and storms out of the classroom, clearly at her breaking point. Outside, Gammon and his friend are discussing what just happened, realizing that getting on the bad side of the student council is a huge problem. Suddenly, Hee-won, the blonde girl who stood up for her friend, runs up to them, looking panicked. "Why you're here?" It turns out Hee-won was the one who applied for the study group in Jaiwoo's name. She looks at Gammon with desperation in her eyes and begs him, "Please, save Jaiwoo." A quick flashback reveals that she herself was once a victim of this school's brutal bullying. When Hee-won was at her lowest, being targeted and extorted, Jaiwoo was the one who stood up for her. Now that Jaiwoo is the one in trouble, Hee-won is determined to return the favor. And finally, the whole twisted story comes out. Jaiwoo's twin brother is in debt to Jujin, the student council member. Jujin is using a video of her brother committing violence as blackmail, forcing Jaiwoo to be his personal slave. She's enduring all this silently to protect her only family. Hee-won knows she's transferring out soon, and she's desperate to help Jaiwoo before she leaves. She believes the study group might be her friend's only hope for a way out. With tears in her eyes, she begs them, not to fight, but to do something much more difficult. Please study with Jaiwoo. She wants the group to become a safe haven for her. Faced with such a heartfelt plea, but also the risk of making an enemy of the student council, what will Gammon decide to do? Gammon makes his choice. The mission is clear. Get that blackmail video and the USB drive it's on so Jaiwoo can finally focus on studying in peace. Little do they know, the master manipulator Hanwol is already aware of the situation and making his own moves. Hanwol plays dumb with the teacher while secretly plotting how to get his own copy of the video for leverage. This guy is always watching, always scheming. The study group's rescue mission just got a whole lot more complicated. Meanwhile, back in the student council room, Jaiwoo's boyfriend is talking to himself, completely unaware that he's being watched. From the crack in a locker, a pair of eyes is spying on his every move. It seems everyone in this school has a secret agenda. All right, let's get the lay of the land. Welcome to Yusung High's student council, which is less about student government and more about a gangster hideout. As this kid explains, it's the nerve center for all the bullies, the place they use to control everyone else. Basically, it's the last place you want to be. Everyone's terrified of the student council, whispering about how it's run by some terrifying mob boss's son. But our boy Gammon, he hears danger zone and thinks perfect opportunity. His logic is flawless. If everyone is too scared to even get close, it's the ideal spot for a stealth mission. Let's go. Meanwhile, inside the lion's den, the villains are doing exactly what you'd expect, scheming. They've got the USB drive and are plotting to use it to keep Jaiwoo under their thumb indefinitely. The absolute scum of the earth. But suddenly slam, the door gets kicked open. Looks like another faction is crashing the party. Tensions flare immediately, with insults and trash talk flying everywhere. It's about to go down. And there it is, a full-blown brawl erupts. The guy in a white shirt goes ballistic, kicking his opponent to the ground and stepping on him while screaming about the USB. Clearly, that little drive is the key to everything, and everyone wants a piece. Back with Gammon's crew, they're not just sitting around. The support team is hatching a plan. Look at our boy here, taking off his glasses like a super genius about to solve a world-ending equation. It's go time. And what's the plan? A classic diversion. They're going to stage a fake fight in the hallway to create a commotion. The hope is that the noise will draw the council members out, giving Gammon a window to slip away. Let's see if their acting is convincing enough. Elsewhere, the new teacher is still trying to do her job, concerned about a missing student. But the veteran staffer basically tells her to give up, calling it a waste of time. In this school for future criminals, it seems like hope is in short supply. But you can see in her eyes, she's not ready to quit. Back in the hallway, the fake fight seems to have gotten a little too real. A brutal kick lands, sending one of them flying. Either their acting is method-level intense, or this plan just went sideways. The guy who got hit is in total shock. He can't believe it. But look at the attacker's face, pure rage. It seems like he was just looking for an excuse to let loose. This diversion just turned into a genuine grudge match. There are people in this world you shouldn't give up on. With that declaration, the fight escalates. This isn't just a distraction anymore. It's a battle of wills. Inside the student council room, the confrontation is just as heated. Curses are flying and fists are clenched. Just another lovely day at Yusung Technical High. This guy in the purple vest absolutely loses it over Jaiwoo, accusing Gammon of using her and screaming, "Do you have a death wish?" before charging in. But he gets shut down instantly by a council member who schools him with a classic line. In order to teach a lesson, you have to learn one first. Oof, that's got a sting. But the white shirt guy isn't taking that lying down. He gets back up, grabs the council member's collar, and demands a fair fight. The tension snaps, and it's on again. This council member is a real piece of work. He starts wailing on the other guy, taunting him. Jaiwoo's face is pretty, so I get why you'd be tempted. But how dare you, I'm an upperclassman's girlfriend? The arrogance is off the charts. He even starts grinding the USB drive in a guy's head. Just pure disrespect. But that was a mistake. The guy's eyes snap open, and he explodes with a counterattack. The real fight is just beginning. And just then, our boy Gammon makes his grand entrance. He takes down a whole group of them in a flash, leaving everyone stunned. Isn't that the monster from Class 4, Gammon? They ask. You bet it is. The main character has entered the chat. Gammon's fighting prowess is on full display. Even the goons in their official student council jackets are no match for him. He's just on another level. But there's a huge problem. While Gammon was busy fighting, the other schemers have already uploaded the video to a computer. It's processing to be posted on YouTube, designed to ruin Jaiwoo's life forever. Gammon realizes he's been played. When did they? He screams. They're running out of time. Without a second's hesitation, Gammon crashes into the computer room. He locks eyes with the bald senior who's been causing trouble, and a grin spreads across his face. That's the look of a predator who's found his prey. The show's about to start. Meanwhile, the rest of the study group springs into action. Hearing that the USB is in the meeting room, Hee-won doesn't wait for a signal. She suddenly makes a break for it, shocking her friends. This girl doesn't mess around. Flashbacks to her past of being bullied fuel her determination. She's done being a pushover. Now watch this, she declares. She's ready to throw the first punch and fight back. And she starts by causing absolute chaos in the hallway. Let's take a quick detour into the past. We meet another key player in this whole mess, Jujin Kim. Turns out he used to be a judo prodigy before he quit to join the student council and focus on turf wars. And who was his rival? None other than Jaiwoo Lee, the girl they're blackmailing. She's no damsel in distress. They called her Suwon Middle School's Ronda Rousey. She's a legit judo beast who put countless guys in the hospital for harassing her. The fangirling is real. Back then, Jujin was an arrogant fool, looking down on Jaiwoo because she was a girl and talking all sorts of trash. The look on his face when he found out she was also going to Yusung High was priceless. These two have a long and complicated history. In the dojo, Jaiwoo completely owned him, effortlessly countering his moves and making him look like a total amateur. The arrogant guy got a serious reality check, and his pride took a massive hit. And that humiliation is what started it all. Jujin swore revenge, promising that once they got to Yusung High, he would find dirt on her, or even make it up, just to break her spirit. So this entire blackmail scheme? It's all born from this one guy's pathetic, bruised ego. And now, he's making good on that threat. Back to the present, the upload is at 99%. It's do or die time. Just as it's about to finish, Gammon bursts in, scaring the kid at the computer so badly he dives under the desk. Talk about a close call. The room erupts into pure chaos. Everyone is running and screaming, but Gammon has only one target in sight. the computer tower that holds the incriminating video. He manages to grab the tower, but he's surrounded. While trying to make a break for it, he trips and goes down hard. The PC tower goes flying, crashing into a million pieces. Well, that's one way to delete a file. Wait, false alarm. The case is shattered, but the hard drive might still be intact. Gammon grabs the core components and keeps running, with his friends yelling for him to head to the lab. They need a way to wipe the data for good. He's trapped, running from the third floor to the first and back, with enemies closing in. In a moment of sheer desperation, Gammon makes a crazy decision. He's going to jump from the building to the adjacent rooftop while carrying a computer. He makes the jump, but Jujin and his cronies are right behind him, taunting him, calling him a loser. Down below, Hee-won and the others can only watch and pray, hoping he can pull this off and save Jaiwoo. Backed into a corner, Gammon flashes a defiant grin. He lifts the computer high above his head, looks down at Jujin on the ground below, and yells, "Peekaboo, you jackass!" And then, he lets it drop. But just as it's about to smash onto the ground, a figure dashes in out of nowhere and intercepts it with a powerful kick. And who is this mysterious savior? It's Jaiwoo herself. Not only does she save the computer, she seamlessly transitions into a perfect judo throw, slamming Jujin into the dirt. "I'm going to beat you until I'm satisfied," she says coldly. The queen has arrived, and she is not messing around. With the computer hardware now completely obliterated, Jaiwoo stands over a defeated Jujin Kim. "The next time you act up," she warns, "you'll be the one getting smashed." Absolute boss move. Up on the roof, Gammon is just speechless. "She's so brutal. I'm almost scared to go down there," he mutters. After the dust settles, he finally comes down to find Jaiwoo holding Jujin by the hair. "Hey Jujin," Gammon asks casually, "what you doing down there?" But Jaiwoo isn't done yet. She continues to just dominate Jujin, delivering a brutal beatdown. She's sending a clear message. If you try to break someone stronger than you, you'll be the one who ends up broken. Finally, Jaiwoo delivers her final warning. If he ever comes near her or her brother again, he'll lose more than just an arm. Meanwhile, the rest of the student council goons are running to the scene, and a mysterious hooded figure appears outside the school gates. The plot thickens. Back inside the school, the new teacher, Mr. Han, runs into the bald troublemaker from before. The guy immediately gets aggressive, forcing Mr. Han to defend himself. Looks like being a teacher at this school requires some serious combat skills. During all the chaos, the original USB drive falls to the floor unnoticed. Just as Jaiwoo gets a message about joining the study group, Ms. Lee, the teacher, happens to walk by. She spots the drive and picks it up, asking, "What's this?" "Oh no, this could be bad. Really bad." Mihi Huang from the student council snatches the USB and makes a run for it, with Heewon's friend in hot pursuit. Turns out these two have their own beef, and a chase scene kicks off through the hallways. Meanwhile, after some unique coaching from her friend, Heewon finally musters the courage to stand up for herself. She lets out a curse and gets into a fighting stance. This is a huge step for her. The timid girl is finally fighting back. Fueled by memories of being bullied by Mihi, Heewon refuses to back down. This time, instead of running, she charges forward and tackles her former tormentor head-on. With a powerful roar, Heewon throws a punch for all the pain she endured. They both go down in a tangle of limbs, and the USB drive flies through the air. In the ensuing scramble, Heewon's friend manages to grab it. They got it, but the danger's not over yet. The mysterious hooded guy from outside suddenly appears, and he's heading straight for the girl with the USB. He's screaming Jujin Kim's name. This is a revenge mission. And holy crap, he pulls out a knife. "I'm going to kill you," he shrieks, chasing students down the hall. The situation just escalated from a school brawl to a potential horror movie. Everyone is running for their lives.